Hey, what's up guys, GoBoy here. Today we're doing a little bit of a different video. We have a deck profile, this one for Royal Knights of the Purge, just for Royal Knights. I took this deck to an Ulti Cup and I did win first place, getting a cool errata. Then I traded to my friend for a alt art, but yeah, I did end up winning with this deck. This is a little bit different than the one that's already on the channel from the deck gameplay videos from a couple weeks ago, I believe. So yeah, I'm going to go through kind of what cards I play, why I play them, and then we'll talk about some changes for BT23. Let me get that support in a little bit. For eggs, obviously we run 4 copies of King Drazel. This card is really the only reason you'd play this deck because it allows you to play Royal Knights for cheaper, tuck them underneath, and then gain some memory when you play option cards that have the Royal Knight trait onto the battlefield. So 4 copies of that, that's pretty much non-negotiable. Going over some of the Digimon actually, so we do have 2 copies of Sistermon Blanc. This card is good just in case I have duplicates of Royal Knights in my hand. I can play this to pitch 1 and draw 2. That's always really good to have. And it does have decoy for red and black, so if an effect would delete one of my red or black Royal Knights, which are a good amount of them, I can protect it. One more level 3, we have one Gatsumon. I'm probably going to end up cutting this. I really only ran this Gatsumon to kind of deal with Omnimon, because that deck is... I thought it was going to be a lot more prevalent in my locals, but then it wasn't. For level 4s, we want 3 copies of the Omegamon from BT13. This one just allows you to draw a card on play, and then on deletion you can put a Royal Knight underneath. Since we don't have Purge anymore, I run more of this because we need to put more stuff underneath our King Drazel stack. We have 4 copies of the Omegamon from BT20. This one is pretty much the Mirror Force. You get to on-play it. It's a blocker. If you have less security, you get to warp into Omni X for free, which is pretty awesome. And then on deletion, you put it underneath your stack, and then you can allow yourself to play it out when someone hits a security, and then you can tell them to kick rocks because you have just cleared their entire board. This is very important to have. For our actual Royal Knights, we're running 4 copies of Magnamon for BT13. This one is your best turn 1 play. This one will allow you to play for 2 memory at your first turn. It has a blocker, which is nice to have for some added defense. We also have the effect of when we leave the battle area, you get to draw a card and play a Vmon from hand or sources. We don't play Vmon, so that effect doesn't happen, but that's good. That's really good to have turn 1 and allows you to get some well-needed draw power for this deck. We run 2 copies of Genkumon from BT13. This card allows you to play out Royal Knights besides Omnimon from underneath Drazel. And because we run the Sistermons, you can actually play them off of its effect from the trash once you decide to go into your big Omnimon play at the end of the game, if you decide to go for that. We run 3 copies of the Jesmon from BT20. This card's really good. Playing out a token is surprisingly a lot better than I thought it was going to be. You play a token that has blocker, reboot, and decoy red-black, I believe. Yep. And then when a Digimon is played, you may delete a Digimon with 8k or less, and then you get to attack with one of them. So this is good for if you ever have a rush body, you can play this down and then cause it to attack at the end of the turn. We run 2 copies of Lord Nightmon from BT19. This one is just because we run so many level 4s. This allows you to play from trash, and it is a redirect. So you can have this out and then a couple blockers, and even if it does get suspended from, say, Pildramon's effect, you can still block, or you can still redirect it into this to stop their attacks, which is kind of nice. We run 2 copies of All Force Ace. This card I run basically to get rid of floodgates. I could be running other cards that don't cost as much to play, but I think the fact that it bottom decks the lowest level, that is very important, because instead of your floodgates being put into your opponent's trash, you get to put them to the bottom of the deck, where no deck is going to be able to get to it, minus most purple decks, but I mean, half the time you're just putting them under the deck anyway. It's better than them being in trash, because then they can play it from trash. So that's why we run 2 copies of this bad boy. We run 1 Alphamon from BT20. This one allows you to recover 1 on play. It does have barrier 2, so you could redirect with Lord Nightmon into it, and then, barrier just in case it's something pretty big. I like the fact that this can recover one. That's really the reason I run one of them, because I like recovering. I think it's kind of sick. And if you remove security, all turns, one Digimon gets minus 8k. So if your opponent does hit your security for any reason, you can nuke one of their small bodies just in case they decide to exist. And I believe it's just for the turn, so it's not premium DP reduction. We run one copy of Leopardmon Ace. This allows you to play a Digimon with 5k DP or less from your hand, which does count all of our level 3s and 4s here, minus the Magnamon. And that really just allows you to put stuff on the field. I've used this effect to play Omekamon. I've used it to play Gatsumon to stop people from playing by effect. I've also used Blanc before too to get some more card draw. I really like this card. Plus, if any other Digimon will leave the battle area, you get to gain 2 memory. That has come up a couple times, especially if I've gone against a board white. So that's why I run that. We run one Gallantmon from BT13. This one is a rush body on play, delete a small body or delete a big body, and then when attacking, does the same thing. I really like it. We run one Gallantmon promo. This one allows you to delete a Digimon that's really big, and if you don't delete for any reason, you get to recover one. Recovery, I like it, plus it's pretty solid against some decks. Next, we have 2 copies of Medieval Gallantmon. This card is just insanely good. As you can see from the gameplay on the channel, I was able to tell a Diaboromon player to kick rocks and not be able to play the game, basically. That's the only reason we run it, is just because it's that solid in the first place. We run one Gallantmon Crimson Mode Ace. I think I'm going to get rid of this card when the new set comes out. The main idea was to play this when you have an Omnimon X on field, so you can have it swing without suspending, and then trash security for the trash. It has only come up against one deck, and it was Galacticmon, which makes sense. We're gonna have a lot of trash when you're playing against Galacticmon, and it's okay. I definitely am not the biggest fan of it after playing with it. We run 2 copies of Alphamon or Yukon Ace from BT20. This one pretty much just puts a giant 15k blanket on your field, on your opponent's field for one of their Digimon. You will never get the DNA stuff, so it doesn't matter. Also, if you hit a security all turns, or if a security is removed all turns, you get to gain memory. 3 memory is pretty solid. So I always like putting this on the field when you have a rush body to gain some memory. We run 2 copies of Jesmon GX. This is another way to just delete a Digimon. It also can unsuspend, so it is a double breaker. It does suck that you have to put a card underneath to get the effect of deleting something. But if you don't really want to, you could play this from Purge, swing, unsuspend, and swing again. So I don't see that being a bad play at all. We run 3 copies of Omnimon from BT13. This is the game-ending play, the card that basically the deck used to be all about until OmniX came around and decided to kind of screw with everything. But I still think it's a good finisher. It's still pretty important to have, because I do like playing into this, actually. I prefer to win my games with Omnimon. I like putting stuff on the field. It feels really fun to just play all the boys, bring them out, and then wreak some havoc. 4 copies of Omnimon X from BT20. I mean, I don't really have to say anything about this card. This card is just that good. It really just gets rid of bodies. It makes things swing at the end of turn without suspending. It has blocker, piercing, raid. Raid piercing is an insane combo in the first place, but having it be blocker is also pretty nice. So these are all of the Digimon that we play. When we go to the Tamers, it's pretty simple. We're running 4 copies of Cool Boy from BT20. This allows you to gain some memory and draw some cards. It also allows you to play a Mekamon from hand. If you have a Royal Knight that just so happens to leave the battle area for any other reason, and this can actually proc your Mekamon to go into Omni X if your security is gone and it's not under the stack. If you have it in hand, suspend it, play the Mekamon out, and then tell your opponent that you're pretty much cleared their entire board. Really nice to have. Also allows you to put up some blockers and draw some cards just in case you want to do stuff like that. For options, it's also pretty simple. We're running 4 copies of The Last Guardian. This card is your search tool. That's the reason I don't run Dynasmon in this deck, is because Last Guardian is that good and it does its job. Not as good because it doesn't search the top 4, but it does search in general. So this card's very good, and it also protects your Omnimon. if it would leave the battle area, period. So you can use this to stop your Omnimons from leaving play when Drazel, this guy here, decides to suck them up. Very good card. I really like it. And then the Lonely 1 copy of Royal Knights of the Purge. This card had to get hit. I mean, it was insanely good. It allowed you to play Omni X for free off of its effect. It doesn't have it didn't even get on play, but who cares? You get to swing, raid, pierce for 16k, which means you only die to like literally level 6s, so, or 7s, I mean, so it doesn't really matter. But this card needed to go to 1. That's pretty much all I can say about it. It had to go to 1. So now that we've gone over the deck profile, let's talk about what I want to add when it comes to BT23. So BT23 obviously has the new Drazel card. I'll put the cards on screen so you can see. The new Drazel basically is going to be an additive to Royal Knights of the Purge. It will give a body rush, it gives it a bunch of effects. I don't have it in front of me, but it gives the card a bunch of effects, and it's also just really sick to have. I think the card's going to be insanely good for the deck. The Jesmon, I'm not really going to add that card. I might test it out, but I don't think it's going to end up staying in the long run. Same with the Genkumon. It does play a token, and it does delete a play cost, which isn't as bad as deleting DP. So I might try it out. We'll see how it goes. The Examon, I also might try, just because of the Drazel giving it some needed aggression. The Craniumon, I'm definitely going to try. I think that card is going to be really good when you have Vademon running around trying to put your Tamers to the bottom of the deck. You can suspend it and also attempt to delete the Vademon at the same time if it tries to get out of here. Plus, I believe it's a blocker, so it is some more added defense in case you're playing against a deck that is super aggro. The Dynasmon, I want to try out because it does decide to trash. You trash a security, but you do give a -6k to your opponent's field for the turn, which I think can be pretty dangerous against decks that play wide, like Puppets, for example. That might kind of screw them over, and other cards as well, but also making your cards squishy is pretty solid. And then the Gallantmon is absolutely being run in that deck. I'm absolutely running the new Gallantmon. It stops the best decks of the format from playing from trash. Red, Purple, Imperial, Gallantmon, Red Purple Hybrid, all those decks play from the trash, so you absolutely want to have some cards that stop them from doing that. But that's basically all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below, and I'll see you guys with another Digimon video. Peace.